I hope he makes the decision because money should not be the issue. He has generational wealth. Go where you want to go to fulfill whatever need it is. Is it to play in a different city, try something new, go for a championship, a team you think is better suited? We don't know, but it's going to be. I hope it plays out soon because pitchers and catchers are reporting pretty soon, BK.
He also he was a foundational player to a team that had a historic run, a World Series championship club. Another player who was a foundational player to that effort was Jose Altuve. Jose Altuve, as you mentioned, is actually going to be changing positions. He's going from second base and moving to left field. That also came out from the Astros and their explanation. So here is their defensive alignment. Potentially, Mauricio Dubon, who plays second base, can go anywhere. He can play center
and he's very good. And he's very good.
He's an outstanding player. But now you have Jeremy Pena, who's the new cornerstone shortstop. Paredes, then, if you don't have Alex Bregman, goes to third. But Altuve, meantime, is out in left field potentially after several years of being below league average defensively. So this is Brian McTaggart, who puts out Yordan Alvarez, started 53 games in left field. And Joe Espada, their manager, wants to dramatically reduce that from 53 to dramatically reduce. That sounds like 0. All right, let's get more from Joe Espada, the manager.
We have been working in left field for the last couple of weeks, but he continues to take ground balls. I'm not going to commit to a number of games, but that's something that we are looking at to create some flexibility, put players in a position to succeed, other players that we could, put it, take care of. We could take care of the baseball, keep guys healthy, have a more balanced lineup, offensively. Those are things that we are looking at, and that's what we're considering putting Jose, getting some time in left field.
Yeah, Astros, interesting. And Altuve, again, the last 2 years, he has negative defensive metrics. So we could show you the numbers over the last few years. But Yordan Alvarez was said to be able to hold it down in left field, even though he has negative defensive metrics. This is far too deep in the negative. You can say, hey, look, 1 year outs above average, that's the range on the StatCast metric 2022, was a +1 and -15s. All right, so, Mike, follow me on this. There's a disparity there, right? One metric says he is terrible. The other one says, no, he's league average. But by the time you get to last year, they're both saying -13, -9. He's not holding it down at this point. But he's a little guy to be moving to left field. What do you make of that? And then Yordan Alvarez now going to DH from left field.
I think the key words that I took out of Joe Espada's mouth was to take care of the baseball. And I tell you, when we got this stat, -41 in DRS over 3 years, that's the worst, not only at second base, but of any position player at their position. I didn't know it was that bad. So when you have on your roster a guy like Dubon, who's exceptional in all 3 outfield positions, but he's also way above average at second base, it makes sense from a defensive standpoint. Now, can Altuve handle left field? If I have a subpar defender in left field in Yordan Alvarez, I think Altuve is going to be fine. If he's just league average, this is a major upgrade as a whole defensively for the Astros. So I applaud them. At first, I was like, I don't really like the musical chairs. Let me move in 3 guys, different spots. I'm not a big fan. But when you see the metrics play out, how drastic, it's eye-popping. If you told me they were league average and you're trying to steal 2 more runs or 2 more on the OAA, I wouldn't be as inclined. But the fact that Dubon is so good and the numbers have been so poor for Altuve, I'm for it. I agree with the decision.
It's funny, I've seen this now for over a decade where you'll have players and teams complain about the defensive metrics, and then about a year later they make a move that tells you, yeah, we're believing the defensive metrics at this point. Joe Espada, I'm sure, is looking at his club pitch by pitch and thinking, we've got to get better defensively. If you're wondering about Altuve in left field, I don't want to be heightist, but very few...
Is that a word?
It is. You can be heightist, and I don't want to be a heightist. Very few players at 5'6" or shorter have ever played left field. One was a Hall of Famer, Hack Wilson, who famously drove in 191 runs one year, or 190, depending on what you believe. It was with the Dodgers, and that's later in his career. But, okay, can you be 5'6" and 5'5", whatever he is, and play left field? Is that all right?
I think in Houston you can. Either way, he's going to look short out in the outfield.
He's going to look short, but we don't care about that. He's heard this his whole life.
That's not fair. But it is 81 games in a short porch. But I don't view it as... The height's not robbing home runs. Yordan Alvarez is not robbing home runs.
How about the arm? Like, you need a different level arm to
I think
get
he's
the
got it.
ball
I think he had a plus arm as a second baseman. I don't sweat that. I think of all 3 outfield positions, left field, you can get away with it the most. If you're throwing home, the cutoff That's where you use your cutoff. Hit the cutoff man hard, and he can make the plays. I think it's fine.
I'm sure the baseball ops department at Houston, which is highly developed, has measured that and seen, because his arm has to actually work.
Yes.
Because, it's just a very different throw. It's like, it's not the velo, it's getting the length, and medium velo is what you need there. But I'm sure they figured that out.
And also, the second baseman tends to really short arm, routine plays. If you told me a shortstop or a third baseman is going to the outfield, well, he's used to kind of making longer throws. It is an adjustment without a doubt. I think someone of the caliber and talent of Jose Altuve is going to be able to do it.
He's a different sort of guy. His bat.
He's defied a lot of odds before. I think this will be just one more.
No question. How about this? More news from the Astros, from Brian McTaggart. Once again, Billy Wagner, who will be inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame this summer, will have his number 13 jersey number retired by the Astros on August 16th. That's after he goes into the Hall of Fame itself. Christian Walker, who signed with the Astros in December, slipped on a number 13 jersey, will move to number 8 as that's retired. Is that a thing? Is that I never really give much thought to what number you're wearing, but you guys do, right?
It is a thing. And I think some guys, we've heard things about cars. Guys wanted cars, and my only experience when I got traded over with Josh Beckett to the Red Sox, Josh always wanted 19, and I had 19 with the Marlins, and I wore it to honor my dad. That's what he used when he pitched for the Puerto Rican.
And he wanted it when he was with the Marlins.
He did. So he wore 61, which is, I guess, kind of an upside-down 19. So we got traded to the Red Sox, and Josh is, the featured guy in the trade, and they were doing, like, some promos for the team before spring training. So he calls me up. He's like, hey, are you adamant about 19? And I said, no, I'm not adamant about 19. I don't really believe the number is what gets me hits or all that. I go, you can have it. So it was no negotiation or anything, and Josh very generously, early on the year, he gave me a nice Breitling watch. He put it in my locker as a thank you for giving him 19. So
it's a class.
I was a bad negotiator, but I ended up with a nice watch. And
maybe you did better because you took a more amenable negotiation. That's high-level negotiation right there.
It was a sneak attack. No, I don't want anything, but I really do. I don't know. I'm not that smart.
I really don't need anything, Josh. Yeah, that's pricey.
It's a nice watch. Yes. Thank you, Josh.
We'll take a short break. When we come back, the defending champs bulking up their roster, but has another team actually had a better offseason than the mighty Dodgers. We'll dive in next. Well, those new Dodgers show up, and look at the offseason additions for the defending World Series champions, who until last year were averaging 107 wins a year. Blake Snell, top of the food chain. Tanner Scott, Roki Sasaki, the top international free agent. Kirby Yates, because, the best closer, wasn't enough. Let's get the guy who worked the 8th inning. Their own guy, who was the last man standing in the bullpen, that was Blake Trinan. He was a free agent. They brought him back. They also brought back Teoscar Hernandez, who was their own guy, but they could have lost. Mike Lowell is back, and Mike Lowell said something that I thought was fascinating just a few moments ago off camera, who said, has there ever been a more aggressive defending World Series champion? And I can't think of one, Mike. I can't see any big spending spree from a team that had just won the World Series.
Yeah, I look at it. It's not just a one name. It's 5 significant names. You look at, okay, how's our bullpen going to look? Well, now I have 3 monsters in the bullpen with Trinan, Yates, and Tanner Scott. How about let's add a 2-time Cy Young Award winner in Blake Snell? Let's land the most coveted international pitcher on the market. So it's impressive from a dollar standpoint that they're able to do this. And from a talent standpoint, usually World Series champions don't have so many holes to fill.
Right.
And they have filled some of these holes with monster talent and big-name players.
Even the Astros, who went out and got Garrett Cole after winning a title, that's the equivalent of Blake Snell. Now, again, Cole wasn't the fully developed Garrett Cole at the time. It was very promising. Snell's older, clearly. But I don't know, they're kind of on par.
They are.
That's how dominant Snell's been.
And I would say, even if you got Garrett Cole at his prime, it still doesn't surpass the number of guys that the Dodgers added. It's 7 legit impact guys.
Again, in other shows, we talk about who's added the most WAR and that sort of thing. We'll talk about that with Mike Petriello. But just looking at the actual impact of the players brought in, even the Mets with Juan Soto, you're not hanging with this.
No, not at all. This is a monster team.
We'll also look at the top 100 players in baseball. That's coming up next right here on MLB Network. Greg Amsinger and company will have that for you. Players 80 to number 61. I hope if you're in the 70s, you're not insulted, Mike. But 80 to 61 coming up next right here on MLB Network.
Rookie seasons are nice, but are they enough to get you ranked much closer to number 1 than veterans who have been at the top of their game for 5 to 10 years?
Back in my day, closers mattered. But if they pitch today with Lee Smith, Dennis Eckersley, or even Billy Wagner make our top 100,
And what about durability? Should you be on this list if you can't stay on the field?
Well, imagine if you missed 40% of all the shows you were supposed to be on. You wouldn't be on a marquee show like this one, and it is a big one. The second installment of the top 100 players right now starts now. Well, welcome everyone to the top 100 players right now. This is 80 through 61 installment in Studio 21. It's Greg Amsing with my guys, our resident GM, Steve Phillips, is back for more. Got a little heated there in the first episode, but you enjoyed yourself?
Behave yourself this time.
All right, I'll try. We got a pitcher with us.
We do.
Ron Darling, good to see you, Ron. In the history of this show, we've only had one pitcher, 1 year, be ranked #1 on this list, and that was Clayton Kershaw. Does this show respect pitchers enough?
It doesn't respect pitchers, but pitchers aren't respected. They're used to it in the game. I remember a manager who was a very good hitter in the major leagues said, you know, make this game perfect, could get rid of the pitchers. I mean, that's how they feel, but that's not what it means, because the pitchers still do pretty well when it comes to contract time.
Well, to this list's credit, we did start the list with a pitcher that hasn't thrown a single pitch in the United States. As we recap 100 through 81, what we saw in our previous installment of the top 100 players right now. Roki Sasaki with the Dodgers kicked it all off. Then you see a couple shortstops. They're in 94-93 range with Mason Wynn and Dansby Swanson. Then we move on to the right side of your screen. Justin Steele, Bryce Miller, back-to-back. Jurickson Profar debuting in his 30s. He's now with the Atlanta Braves. You notice one thing you didn't see, a single catcher. That's about to change as we continue the countdown.
Number 80.
You think of JT Realmuto, he will beat you with one swing of the bat.
JT lifts one to deep left center field, and that one is gone!
So you see how elite he is behind the dish.
Go to second on one hop, he is out at second base. There you go, having the weapon behind the plate.
When you add it all together, JT Realmuto is the total package.
Number 79.
This guy's been a constant force behind the plate and with the bat.
Salvi drills it, no doubt about it. It's a home run from the Royals captain.
And his size and his ability and his durability to play, but he brings everything.
Salvi throws a good one, right on the money.
He's amazing.
Sal Perez wasn't ranked the previous 2 seasons. JT Realmuto battled injuries, slides 34 spots from last year. You could say the Phillies won't go to the World Series if JT Realmuto doesn't go back to his all-star form. He's that important. When it comes to Sal Perez, the Royals won't have a winning record if Sal Perez doesn't hit over 25 home runs and drive in around 100. That's how important he is. Now, he's age 35 season coming up. So when you dive into great catchers who catch the majority of the season, over 50% of the games, he's going to play some first base and DH. Look at this. Age 35 season for Yogi Berra, Mike Piazza, and Ivan Rodriguez. If Sal Perez puts up numbers that look like this, the Royals will not have a winning record, in my opinion. He needs to put up a Carlton Fisk age 35 season. Go back to 1983 when Carlton Fisk at age 35 hit 289 with 26 and 86, 874 OPS. That's the type of season Sal's going to have, Steve, and that's a rarity. We haven't seen it since 1983.
Yes, but I think he can do it because he's not catching 145 games, right? They're splitting the time. Felix Fermin's a guy, Freddie Fermin's a guy that can catch. He can swing the bat a little bit. You can put first base for Salvi. You can DH him. So I think if he catches 80 to 90 games, then I think you got a chance to get the offensive production. He played 158 games last year because they spared his legs, his body, because here's the thing. They need his bat more than they need his catching.
We're in agreement. His bat is the most important aspect to what he brings to the Royals.
100%. I think that Salvador Perez is just one of those guys that puts right in the middle of that lineup, and after you get Bobby Witt and others on base, he collects.
Do we agree that he has to put up numbers like he did this past season for the Royals to have a winning record?
That's very similar to the numbers you showed of Carlton Fisk. His was 26 and 86. That's 27, 104, in that range, certainly.
All right, so we finally have 2 catchers on the countdown. This is going to put a smile on your face. We finally have 2 relievers back to the list.
Number 78.
This is the start of something good for the A's in that rotation in that team.
And the Reaper continues to haunt Major League hitting.
Dialing it up to 104.
Mason Miller, what a difference he's made in that bullpen for Oakland.
Fear the Reaper. What a job by Mason Miller.
Ding, ding. That's the tardy belt. Gonna need to see a hall pass. It's Miller time.
Number 77.
Devin Williams looking like the best reliever in baseball.
Phenomenal closer, period, end of story.
The airbender strikes again.
Devin Williams has one of, if not the best changeup we've ever seen.
And he got him! Struck him out with a changeup.
Hey, I'm throwing my changeup. Still not going to hit it.
Devin Williams lights out.
So Devin Williams slides 18 spots. He dealt with the injured back, came back and had a sub-2 ERA. Mason Miller debuting on this list. I don't understand why they're neck and neck here. I love Mason Miller, upside through the roof, Ronnie, but Devin Williams has done nothing but strike people out with an incredible ERA in his career so far.
Well, Devin Williams is what Mason Miller aspires to be at some point. He does not have the body of work. Devin Williams, when he's been healthy, has been as good as anyone who's ever started his career. He's done nothing with the numbers he has come backwards in any way. Every time he's out there and healthy, he's one of the most dominant closers in the game. Mason Miller, though, at some point, with the 100, with the slider, could be a Eric Gagne kind of guy coming out of the bullpen. That's how exciting he is to me.
I love his stuff, but Devin Williams is in a walk year, and he's going to have a lot of save opportunities pitching for the New York Yankees.
So here's the thing. I don't know that walk years for closers matter because every game is a walk year for them, right? Every game they're trying to save and everything else. Give me Mason Miller. Give me 104. Give me the guy's 100th percentile in almost every StatCast number with electric stuff. I mean, nobody has stuff like him with a strikeout rate over 14 per 9 innings. I mean, this guy has absolute. Look at, give me the guy who's 100th percentile in every one of those categories. Devin Williams is great. I'll take the guy who's nobody's better than him.
Okay, wait. Which pitch would you rather have? His fastball or Devin Williams' changeup?
The fastball. Give me the fastball.
The fastball does play, but boy, it's hard to look past that changeup. It is truly the Bugs Bunny pitch of anyone in baseball. What do they hit? About 111?
It's incredible.
Since he's been in baseball. So he has proven over a longer period of time that that is almost an unhittable pitch.
I would be okay if Devin Williams was in the top 50, personally, on this list this year. Because if we're projecting, he's going to have a monster season.
Would you take Mason Miller as your closer, though?
Of course I would. But Devin Williams, with all the other intangibles, I'm going Devin Williams all big time this year. All right, we got to go to break, and we're going to give you some trivia. This is a little fun. I love it when we sneak a trivia question in. Which pitcher leads the National League in wins over the last 3 seasons? Welcome back. We went to break with some trivia. Which pitcher led the National League in wins over the past 3 seasons? The answer? Right in the middle of your screen, the ace of the Diamondbacks.
Number 76.
What I love about Zach Gallen is he is a complete pitcher.
Swing and a miss. And another curveball and another strikeout.
Clearly, the ace this D-backs down.
Got him. Back to the curve.
Truly love this kid. Like all good artists do, he paints the corners.
Got him. Right to the fastball again.
His stuff is too good.
Number 75.
George Kirby can do everything stuff-wise.
He struck him out. What a night, George Kirby.
He's the best strike thrower in the league.
Swung on a miss, struck him out. That's a dozen for George Kirby through 7 innings.
But the way George Kirby throws strikes, it is filthy.
Number 74.
If there is a Cinderella Cy Young story, it is Seth Lugo.
He is on a heater with the Kansas City Royals.
Seth Lugo, a career-high 12 strikeouts.
And when they signed him, they didn't think they were going to get the runner-up to the American League Cy Young.
You go, we go, Lugo.
Congrats to Seth Lugo, a longtime reliever debuting in the top 100. It's a big deal for him. George Kirby stays at number 75. He's ranked in the same spot a year ago. You rarely see that. And Zach Gallen slides 45 spots from last year's list. So Zach Gallen, George Kirby, Seth Lugo. Ron, if you could have one of those guys for the 2025 season, which one are you taking?
It's an easy call for me, but I think I'm biased. I just love pitchers from the Northeast, guys that have cut their teeth on the cold weather. And this guy, George Kirby, for the Seattle Mariners, has the control that we all, as young pitchers, aspire to have. He just is amazing with a repertoire that he can throw any pitch in the strike zone. He's got the four-seamer, of course, that can reach 97 to 99 miles an hour. He's got the great...
ドジャースのオフシーズンの補強はまさに驚異的でした。ワールドシリーズ王者として、すでに最強のチームの一つでありながら、 さらに戦力を大幅に強化。これほど積極的な補強を行ったディフェンディングチャンピオンが今までにあったでしょうか。まさに超攻撃的補強と言えるでしょう。まずはブレイク、スネル、2度の際ヤング賞受賞投手がローテーションに加わり、ドジャースの先発陣はさらに強力に。これだけで他球団なら大ニュースですが、ドジャースはそれだけでは終わりませんでした。次に佐々木朗希、メジャー未経験ながらその驚異的な速球と精密なコントロールで世界中の注目を集める日本のスター投手がついに MLB へドジャースが獲得したことで、世界の野球ファンが彼の活躍を目の当たりにできるのは嬉しい限りです。果たしてメジャーの打者たちは彼の令和の怪物級の速球に対応できるのか、今からワクワクしますね。そしてリリーフ陣も大幅に強化。カービー、イエーツ、タナー、スコット、そして再契約したブレイクと来年額は割り、後ろをがっちり固める布陣となりました。これにより試合後半の安定感が格段に増し、接戦を確実にものにできるチームになったと言えるでしょう。さらに攻撃力の面でも補強は万全。テオスカー、ヘルナンデスの再契約により打線の破壊力も維持。彼のパワーと勝負強さは長いシーズンを戦う上で欠かせない要素になるはずです。つまり今シーズンのドジャースはワールドシリーズ連覇に向けて完全に準備が整ったということ。すでに強いチームがさらに強くなる。これは他球団にとっては悪夢であり、ドジャースファンにとっては最高のシーズンの幕開けです。皆さんは今シーズンのドジャースにどんな期待をしていますか。スネルと佐々木の投手リレー、MVP 級の活躍を見せるバッター、それとも新戦力の大爆発。コメントであなたの意見を教えてください。そしてまだチャンネル登録していない方はぜひ今のうちに登録して、ドジャースの激動のシーズンを一緒に楽しみましょう。